Now we will discuss internal controls over cash disbursements. Some businesses are too focused on controlling their cash receipts, and they forget that they also need to control that misappropriation of funds is not occurring through the cash disbursements. Or in other words, all of our business checks that are written out are written only for proper business-related transactions. The key control over cash disbursements is generally called a voucher system or a checklist, which ensures that we have proper documentation before any business check is cut. The following 4 documents are generally used to check each other before a check is approved for payment, to be cut for payment. The 4 documents are a purchase requisition, which actually could be an optional document, but it's preferred if it's available. However, for sure we would have to have a purchase order, a receiving report, and an invoice. Let's discuss these each individually. If a business has a purchase requisition system in place, the actual transaction starts with the purchase requisition, which is from the requesting department. They prepare the purchase requisition and submit it to the accounting department. The accounting department then should be the only department in charge of actually preparing purchase orders, as purchase orders are a legally binding document. Then the purchase order is prepared and submitted to the appropriate vendor. Next, we need to have a receiving report from the receiving department saying that the items purchased on the purchase order were actually received by the business. Finally, we have the invoice, which is an outside source document, which is coming from the vendor or the supplier. Now, a member of the accounting department, but not the same person that actually prepared the purchase order, would actually gather the 4 documents together, or the 3 documents in the case of a company that does not have a purchase requisition set up. They would verify all the documents, make sure that all the documents agree, and that we have received and ordered the exact same thing that we actually ordered, and we are now being billed for the items that we actually received and ordered. And it is not until these items are checked off and agreed that the voucher would be approved for payment to have a check cut from the company checkbook. Now let's discuss our separation of duties over this area. The purchase order preparer and the voucher preparer should be 2 separate individuals. Even if they both work for the accounting department, these should be 2 separate individuals so that we do not have a person purchasing items and then also approving the invoice for payment. A regular and independent review that could be performed over this area but is not necessarily 100% required is that a purchase order and an invoice comparison could be made by someone else in the accounting department to again make sure that only invoices are approved for payment that have the proper documentation being accumulated.